This would be a daily vlog view. Hi, this is highly functional autistic Johnny. It is the 17th of the 1st, 2018. Today, I went to the medical centre in my new area that I've moved to, and they had to transfer my details across. And they gave me this thing on my phone that I never had before, where they ask you to rate them, tell them, what you thought of the experience, etc., etc. I don't know if it's my autism playing up, but when I was there, I didn't realise that the practice was divided into 3 sections within the practice, because I've never had that before. Not when I was in Stamford or Peterborough or Bourne. It was all one thing, right? But this thing was divided into Forest Fields, Heiston Green, and something else. It was divided into at least 3 things. Plus, it has a library, and I've never known a hospital to have a library. That's really interesting. I don't know if this would be my rate review on what I think of it for the first time going there. Well, let's see. So I went in there last Tuesday to sign up to the new practice in my area, so I don't have to go to the old one, which is 50 miles away by train. So it'll be easier for me to get to, plus for my bowel incontinence IBS problem that I have. So yeah, I didn't realise it was divided into 3 fractions. So last week I signed up in the second fraction, which was the Heiston Green fraction, and this week I didn't realise that I had to choose between the 3. I thought it was all one, so I went to the first one instead of the second one, and they couldn't find my records, so I had to go to back of the line on the second one to go all the way up again, because I was like second in line for the first one, which was really annoying. So yeah, I had to be in line for at least another 5 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes. I didn't really mind. It was a bit frustrating, but I didn't show my frustration. I was just like, okay, just let this fly, really. So the doctor didn't really have all of my records from my GP and the gastrologist that I saw in Peterborough. So she needs all that to sign this thing for the DWP, which I posted today, so I'm good for another month before they send me another one. But what I was trying to get across to her was, I have... One second. Okay. This is their leaflet for their branch. See, High Green Medical Practice. Your health is our concern. The handbook. The doctor was a very nice lady. I just wish I had brought the right folder as well, because I had 2 folders and I had a bit of one in the other, and it should have been in the other, so I accidentally took the wrong one. Otherwise I would have gave her more information, because it had copies of my report from the gastrointestinal guy, and it would have helped a bit. Yeah, so this is the Mary Potter Health Centre. And then it's got the times it opens and closes and when it's closed. So basically all the basic detail and the main doctors in there. And then other hospitals in the area, because the weird thing is this is the closest one to me, but it's not. I've seen other ratings for it online, the 5-star system, and the most it's got a 2, so it's the weakest in Nottingham. And that kind of put me off a bit. But if something serious does come, I could go to the one further up. It's about half a mile further up, I think, called the Knott City Hospital on Hackney Road. Hacknell Road? Which I would have thought would have been better, right, for my medical problem. I mean, black and white print, it gets the general thing across. And then it's got the map. The map isn't very detailed. You can't really see. You can see Histon Green and Forestfield, but what does this actually represent besides the area? It has nothing to. Doesn't seem to be. You know. It doesn't state what this is for. From in my eyes, anyway. I look at this and I go, well, Histon Green, Forestfields. I'm just a little bit above Forestfields. Then you've got Sherwood Rise, so you've got a small chunk of Nottingham here. And then you've got this poorly illustrated photo that's a bit... I don't know what to say. It's almost like the printer ran out of ink and you can't really see what it's a bit... yeah, it didn't come out very well. So they've given it quite bad reviews, but I guess I could always go to the other one, which is much bigger and has a much better rating. I think it's like 4.2 or something. 4.3 stars. But no, I'll stick to this one for now, because I don't really need, like, surgery. But when it gets to, like, medicine, I don't know, maybe it's just a weird hunch. So what I didn't get was, because this is where it gets pretty convolutedly confusing, was this last week when I got there for the first time, I had to fill in the form for new person up here, right? So they gave me this, but they didn't explain very well the contact times, right? So between 8 and 10 a.m, I believe, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, for 2 hours, you can contact them to make an advanced appointment. But what they didn't tell you is, they didn't make very clear, is if I go in before 8 or 9, 8:30, I can get an appointment on the same day and don't need to ring them. Now, they didn't tell me this until I came in this morning at 8:30 in the morning, because I thought I could go in there and get it when I got there, you know, first come, first serve, but I had to wait 2 hours, which I wasn't too frustrated for. I was like, okay, that's decent. I mean, so sometimes it is worth getting up early. Yes. So the thing with my card is I'm waiting to be assessed by a doctor that's been assigned by the DUP to officially diagnose my medical problem. Now the thing is, I don't know when they're going to contact me. Where is it? Okay, so income-based support has no limit for waiting for the assessment, so it could be a year from now, because I've been on it a year already, since last November. Or it could be 2 years from now. Now, the thing I was trying to get across to the doctor is, because my medical condition doesn't look like it can be changed and seems to be a life thing now, because my last note wasn't just a month. The one she set me for the DWP was 4 months. Or 3 months, I can't remember. It was either 3 or 4 months. But I'm just saying, if you make it longer, you don't have to keep having me to come in each month. You see what I mean? Because if she made it 6 months, and then that will add on to the time DUP is keeping me waiting. And my friend, most people online says it's shy of 2 years, right? And if that's the case, then I've got a little under a year to go. If she signed me for maybe 6 months or even 4 months like my last one, I would have been happy, but she didn't know me that well. She was saying, nah, we're just going to make it a month because I don't have your medical details. Now, the weird thing is, if I was on contribute-based instead of income-based, I would only have to wait 13 weeks for the assessment. Lucky them. I have been waiting over a year now. Oh, the madness of waiting. The madness! Alright. If you hear them tapping, that tapping is the rain, because the rain hits the top of my roof, my bedroom, and it makes quite a bit of a tapping sound. So, because my room's kind of slanted from that side, if you can see top there, sort of hilted like this. Trying to think what else I can really say. So, on the 7th of next month now, I have to go back and do it all over again. But if I show her the evidence, she might make it longer, which is a good thing because that's what I want. I don't want to have to keep coming back each month. It just seems so unnecessary. She can make it longer. Are you with me? Yes or no in the comment section. Because all I'm doing is waiting for this goddamn assessment, and it's just waiting is just a I could move on to moving into my own place for the first time. It's not like my own place, but it's like, you know, away from family and friends. Well, most friends, but I made new friends because it's a shared private accommodation. So I spent maybe 3 or 4 months going through the do's and don'ts of renting and what to find in a good landlord, and the process of which you go through to get the application to rent out an apartment, or a piece of an apartment, or shared apartment, should I say. But half of it, because it seems to be pretty decent arrangement of stuff, that half of it didn't even apply. But if I was moving in other apartments, then it might have applied. It depends on the landlord and the area and so Bee Living, I do my review of Bee Living, which is the people who I pay rent to. But they're not the landlord, they're just the people I signed the tenancy agreement. So they were quick, responsive, which is pretty decent. Really good interaction, they answered all of my questions. Much better than I expected. Really good response time. The things that were ruled out that I didn't need was, I didn't need a credit score, that was good. Mostly because I never rented before. You only need a credit score if you rented before. I'm financially stable because my finances showed that I was financially stable. And I was a bit worried about the location because I didn't know Nottingham that well, but considering it was a cheap place but good, and not too far from the city, if I want to get into the centre and get food, I'm pretty close to shops. Every shop I could think of is in fairly decent range. Decent sized room with internet included in the bills, so gas, water, electric, heating, internet and council tax are all included, which is brilliant, really. And I would have either gone for West Brigford, which is a more fancy area. I want to get closer to the uni when if I decide to move after the 6 months payment fuss down, to get closer, which will be a slightly nicer accommodation in that area. Might be a little bit more expensive depending on where I go, so either West Brigford or Beeston, which is slightly cheaper than West Brigford, I heard. I don't know about Lenton. Maybe. Or I might stay here. But I like the park around here, and it's fairly decent walking around, and it's not very dangerous. I was going to almost shit bricks with everything I read about. Oh, can you read the mind of your landlord to see if they're decent people, if they won't con you and all that? You know, I guess I guess I struck pretty lucky because you can never really tell. And she seemed pretty decent, so I didn't see. Because the other person I talked to, he was very unresponsive. He didn't know half the questions I asked him. I knew more about the property than he did when I was looking at 3 different properties on the same day. And this one was the best one out of the 3. Quite a fairly quiet area if I want to have a decent night's sleep and get up early, or if I want to power bomb my way through work and burn the candle at both ends. Yeah. So, pardon me. Here's an application guide I found on the internet. So the steps. So, number 1, application, Social Security only for USA employment info. That was put down. Income profile, security deposit, which I did put down. Processing fees. There wasn't really any processing fees. No need for guarantor, which was good. Am I on the right one? Let's go. Oh. Finder fees. I don't think I had to give any finder fees. Apartment hunting expenses. I didn't have to give any of that. Service charge. Yes, I think like the security maintenance or any damages and stuff was handed in. So that was something similar to that. There was a small tenancy fee, but it was pretty cheap. I mean, it was decent for the price. Yeah. So almost 25 minutes. So I give... I'll see if I can get an ultra scan at some point as well. Yeah. My medical thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say. Yeah, I think that's it. I think half my thing was knowing where everything is. I think 90% of that was Google Maps. If I didn't know where something was, and that helped quite a bit. Like finding the nearest post office and where all the medical centres are and all the different shops. Yeah. Alright, okay. I think I'll wrap this up at 28 minutes and... No. Alright. Peace.